Hello everyone, my name is Rishi Chore and I'm Microsoft certified professional and currently working as a tech lead in Royal Sabre. So in today's session we are going to discuss about the workflow, how we can implement the workflow in Microsoft Dynamics Business Central, and I will explain you workflow with purchase order workflow scenario. So here we go. To configure the workflow, we have to type workflows in search box. And here we can see the list of available workflows. And as you can see, there is only one workflow is there, which is in the purchase order workflow. We can check whether the workflow is active or inactive by enable option. If it is yes, then it is active. If it is no, then it's not active. So in if I'll configure the new workflow, I can see three options. New workflow will create all the manual templates, and new workflow from template, it will give you the list of available events, and you don't need to bother about which event which you need to configure by which step. So the predefined available events are already available once we will configure from this one. And the copy workflow is that we you can copy from the available existing workflows, like from this purchase order workflow we can copy it all the events available steps. So I'm going to explain by new workflow templates. So once I will click on the available templates, I can see the available workflows in the Business Central. Some for integration, uh, some for purchase and payables. If you want to make the vendor approval workflow, so you can approve the vendor. If it is not approved, then that vendor will not be active, and you can configure it for blanket purchase order, purchase invoices, and credit memos, and you can also send configure for customers. So if you configure the workflow for customer, then that customer will not be active, and it is temporary block until unless if you not approve it, you cannot use that customer. And same for the item workflow, you cannot use the item if it is not approved. And same for the unit price. So there are multiple available workflows are available in Business Central. So I am configuring workflow for purchase order. So here is the purchase order workflow. Once I will click, then as you can see, it will create automatically the code and the description, and by default it is disabled. So once you can check all the events which is available here, if it is proper, then you can enable this workflow. As the workflow is already available, so if I'll try to enable it, it will not allow me because the same workflow is already configured for purchase order. So I will disable it, and I will delete this workflow. So I will use this available workflow which is already enabled and active. So I'm going to workflow user setup. So in approval user setup, you can see all the available users for the approval purpose. You can configure, and here you can define the sales amount limit. So if that sales amount will cross, then only it will go for the approval. Otherwise, it will automatically approve. Apart from that, there is a unlimited sales approval. So if you'll give any the higher authority, you can give the unlimited approval for sales or either for purchase. So currently we are working for the purchase amount, so I'm giving myself as a $5,000 limit. So if it is crossed, then it will go for the approval for the approver ID which is configured as a guest BC. So I'm creating one purchase order. I'm going into purchase order screen. Now I'm going to create purchase order. So I will click on new and I will select the vendor name. I will take one of the vendor and click OK. After that, I will select one of the item and I will define the quantity, unit of measure if you want to change it. So I will give the 10 quantity so it will cross the $5,000 mark. So now it's 7,807. Now I will send it for the request for approval. Send request for approval. Before that, I want to show you the status is open. So once I will send it for approval, the status will become pending approval. And the thing is mandatory, you have to define the vendor invoice number. So this is a key mandatory thing for each and every purchase order. After that, I will check it for the, as my credential is showing as a Rishi Chore. So I will go to the Business Central another credential which is guest BC. So I can check it whether any pending approval request to approve came or not. So I will refresh it once again and I will check it whether it came or not. So as you can see, request to approve now came one, and it is showing the purchase order detail, what it is vendor and amount, all the details are coming, and what is the due date for this purchase order. Either we can approve it or reject it, and we can define some comments also for this purchase order. So the sender can check it whether it's, I can say it's looks good. Please go ahead for purchase. So this will be available. So once I have added the comment, so user ID and date and time will automatically come. So I will approve it. After approval, it will remove from my bucket and the available list. If there are any approval which we required to do, then it will show here. So one of the important feature available for the workflow is that email notification. Currently this is the demo system, that's why we have not configured, but in the actual live system we can configure it, and the it will send the notification to approver and the sender, so it will enhance the productivity in the organization. Now I am going back to the main screen where we have created the purchase order. As you can see, the status is become released. So now in this demo, we have seen like the purchase order limit defined for the sender is 5,000, but we have created the purchase order which is more than 5,000 amount amount. So it went for the approval process and now it is become released. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.